straight to the point, right? We're live. Just do my morning coffee stuff. Write down my load assignment. Suffering in pain thanks to my allergic reaction to plants. Yeah. Right. You got anybody in here yet? Oh yeah. Oh man, so the first day get back in the truck after 2.5 weeks, man, it's a tough one. Yep, there I am. It's been kind of interesting. So here's some news. So there's a truck stop that I stay at a lot here in Springfield, Missouri. Now people have called me crazy for carrying on the truck. Well, guess what? They had a shooting at the come and go truck stop that I stay at all the time. Just Tuesday. So if you live in Springfield, Missouri, and you work at a come and go, you need, number one, to carry a side piece, and then you also need to get hazard pay, because those guys get robbed all the time. I had a bandmate that was robbed at gunpoint at a come and go. That's how bad Springfield's gotten. So that was interesting, because I thought it happened. So yesterday I go. Well, what's today? Today's Thursday, right? So yesterday I picked up in Springfield and met up with Big Rig CEO. He was delivering at the same place I was picking up, and then I delivered in Tulsa and came back to Springfield. Well, I went into the come and go truck stop, no parking, so I left and went to my hiding spot. Now I get parked, I'm doing my chores, and I ate dinner, and I look on Facebook, and there was like someone mentioned something about come and go getting hazard pay. I'm like, well, was there another robbery? So I looked it up, and yeah, sure enough, that come and go truck stop, there was a shooting, just a random shooting out in the parking lot. And it said it happened about 3 or 4 o'clock, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's about what time I was driving by there. I didn't see the police tape or nothing, but then I realized it was Tuesday, not Wednesday, that the shooting had happened. So yeah. that's crazy. And what it was, they think, I think they probably believe it was gang related. So because the guy, and there was footage from somebody's cell phone in the car. Someone had drove in, started randomly shooting, and they chased him to some hotel, and they're still looking for him. I don't know, but the guy's still at large, I think. So all right, let's see, let's do some shout outs. We got Eddie Drotar, the Scribe, Charles, GNC Family Trucking, Don Schonger, John Armstrong, Big Houston, Scott SRO, Mr. Karn, it's a weird name. Does that mean meat? I'm dumb. Daniel Adami, Other Trucker James Best. Aren't you on vacation? Why are you watching us on vacation? Stop watching YouTube on vacation. Daniel Adami's back to work. Let's see. I didn't realize you had stopped working. Waiting on my CCW. It says it takes 45 days. It's only been 2 weeks since I paid and applied. Springfield issues bulletproof vest to all newcomers, right? Alexander Rocker. Yeah, it's kind of, look, I'll give you a history of the Springfield I knew. When I first, we as a family first moved here in 1986, and I hated it. I hated Springfield with a passion. It was a small town to me. We came from Phoenix, and I came from all these modern luxuries that, you could find 24-hour places, and you had, and the part of the deal was I was an avid BMXer. I was a BMX guy. And there was no good bike shops except for one that was on the other side of town that I didn't even know about. I would later discover, in '87, which was life-changing. But I just hated it. I hated the humidity. I hated trees. I hated plants. I hated everything. And I have good reason to hate plants, as I pointed out. I just hated all of it. And it seemed so backwards, being in the Bible, the belt buckle of the Bible belt, that kind of thing, and it just, I hated it. But as time moved on, I was almost ready to move out when my oldest daughter, she's like 29 now, was born. I realized that I had to stay here for her, right? So, and that's the thing. I wanted culture. I wanted like diversity. I wanted all these things that makes big cities so great, supposedly, right? And so, after a while, it wasn't until I became a truck driver that I realized just how much actually I like Springfield, right? Or used to. I like the Ozarks. I like trees now. I like that stretch of I-49 between Neosho and Fort Smith is one of my favorite drives, if you're light. It sucks when you're kind of heavy, but I love the Ozarks. I love Lake of the Ozarks area. I love Camdenton. I love basically anything from I-70 down to I-44. And while I do enjoy the desert still, while I still like, I was contemplating taking a load to Phoenix, to get some big money, some big miles, for the weekend. I just like the Ozarks. However, Springfield has changed. It's become kind of it's always been a meth central type place, but now fentanyl and heroin. And if you talk to people that work directly with Greene County, it's just, and it's the same story. Austin, I saw an article about Austin, Texas kind of turning into a violent place. A lot of the things that you see in Portland and Seattle are happening in major metropolitan areas. And Springfield's almost doubled in size since I've moved here, so that's a big part of it too. So, yeah, I mean, it used to be I could ride my bike anywhere in this town and not worry about getting mugged or beaten or anything, and now you have to be careful just walking outside of my own street. So it's sad, and it shows you the state of our that the rest of the country is heading into. So there's that. But we can talk about other things too. We don't need to be all doom and gloom. Just watching my faves. Aww. You got to meet Triple T yesterday. Good deal. Sometimes vacation is more work than being home. I believe that, Eddie. Look, there are times when you get the honeydew, and James doesn't have that now. James can't get in the truck and get away from the daily chores. Sometimes you need a break and getting back in the truck. Now, other than my, whenever the truck comes out of the shop after a bunch of major stuff has been done, you're like, every smell, every sound, things are different. The engine sounds weird. There was a smell coming from this truck yesterday, but I think I figured it out. There was, sometimes the AC, there's a drainage hose on the front of the firewall in a T680. I'm sure other trucks have it too, and it gets clogged. If it gets clogged, then you start getting condenser water inside the cab, I watched it happen with James's truck when we did the convoy in Joplin a couple of years ago. And there's one time I was on Zello and a couple of guys showed me a video, and you basically have to milk it like an udder to get the crap out of there. And then I don't know if it finally blew the crap out, but I opened the hood up and that water was just gushing out of that hose. So I'm hoping that's what the smell is. We'll find out. But it was a very musty smell, and I did notice there was a little bit of water drains in the passenger floor right. And I had a little bit of water on the passenger floor, and I noticed there was some water at the floorboard, like looked like there had been water when I picked up the truck. But there was also like, I don't know if they left the window open when it rained one night or something, but you know, things weren't right. So, but that hose drain probably looked like about a gallon of water. So hopefully that's it. Hopefully, you know. But other than that, the rear diff, knock on wood, seems to be doing okay. But the front end feels kind of weird, so I'm gonna have that checked out. They just replaced the hubs. You know, the overhead has made the engine sound different. It's performing different. It seems like it's got a little bit more pep, and it's hard to tell what my fuel mileage is going to be because I've been running light loads in the wind, or well, light loads. I had a light load yesterday, and this load today will be a light load, and then whatever I get Friday, you know, we'll see what happens. So, good morning, DIY Semi. What is that thing hanging on your steering wheel, Steve? Is it? Yeah, it's a laptop desk, Larry. One of these things. So, one of the handiest things in my truck right here is this. Where my ex-wife is phoning me, it's like a race with the devil to see me run for the truck fast enough so I can say, yeah, on the road, gotta go. Was the overhead out much? I don't know. They never reported that to me. I don't remember seeing anything. Oh, well, I guess I could. Well, I can't check the. I have a PDF of the file, but I think I read it off on the video, maybe. I don't know. Anyways, it's on a PDF that's on the phone that I'm going live from. So. Yeah, John, these are like, I don't know, $20 at, I think it's a RoPro item, to be honest with you. So, but anyways, we'll see how the truck's doing. I think that's what that smell was, but you know, the front hubs is what I'm more worried about, the front end. So that's I'm not as worried about the rear diff. Rear diff is under warranty. I just have to have the receipt, which I've got it on a PDF. I can print it out if needed in the truck. And it's got a 2-year unlimited mileage, like I would go over the miles anyways, right? And then the front hubs, that's what I'm worried about the most. So must have, John, if you have to scan paperwork. Yeah, it's great because you use this clippy thing, and you got a perfect black background. Boom. And it's just easy to scan paperwork, like on Transflow, or you know, I use an app called Tiny Scanner to scan all my bills. Now, Jeff has a TMS system that we use now instead of a scanner app. However, I still use the scanner app for my own records. That way I'm not having to keep these papers for 20 years. So, Cash is King, good morning. So, other than that, we made some coffee. I'm glad to be drinking out of my favorite cup. And that's what's going on. If you guys got questions about the carnivore thing, so far so good. This is day 3, but this will not count as a day 3 video. I noticed that it takes me longer to upload videos when I'm out on the road. So what I'm having to do is I'm having to take the quality of the video down pretty good so it'll upload in like 15 minutes instead of 4 hours, because it always times out. And I don't know why. That's been recent. I know the cameras to the Samsung Note 10 are really good and really vivid, so that might be an issue. But so if I miss a day, that's kind of what happened. I uploaded late last night for day 2, and basically you guys are watching it on day 3. But either way, you're going to get the gist of just basically 40 reports of how this is going down. So, not a driver currently, but going to CDL school this fall. Randomly saw your channel talking about carnivore diet. Iron Main flag, got my sub. Right? Well, cool. Thanks, man. I have it kind of tucked up today, but I'm wearing my Iron Maiden shirt. Does that count? But yeah, welcome, Hound Dog. You know, the thing about CDL school is the advice I can give for that is just keep a calm mind, and you're gonna live and eat and breathe that truck. You're gonna live and eat and breathe your pre-trip inspection test. You're gonna live and eat and breathe backing if it's a good school. You know, there are some schools that just want to push you through and throw you on your way and say good luck, but the school I went to was really good. You just hours upon hours upon hours of backing, and the mistake that a lot of these older guys don't understand is that CDL school is not a truck driving school. It is, or a trucker school. There's a difference between being a truck driver and a trucker. And these schools, their job is not their job is to not teach you about being a good trucker. Their job is about teaching you how to pass your CDL class. And it's the company that you go to, if you go OTR, that their job is to teach you how to be, you know, an OTR truck driver. So, up the irons. Yep, CDs in CDS in Northern Virginia. Cool. Top of the morning, says TJ. So at that rate, at any rate, whatever rate, Eric had a good video this morning talking about solve, don't sell. I thought that was, you know, he and I have talked about that concept for quite a while. If you don't know, I'm talking about the Great Freight Sage Logic. He was doing his premiere. A lot of people get confused about premieres because it looks like a live feed, but it's not. And I premiered the first carnivore video, and people thought I was live. And I think a lot of people do that because they want to see reactions in real time. But the problem with premieres is that number one, it's confusing, so people think that you're ignoring them, and number two, well, I don't know what number two is. There's a little bit of interaction if you're in the chat, but if you set it to premiere and you're not in the chat, then it kind of becomes pointless. You know, other than getting a super chat, you can do super chats during premiere. So, but you know, that's never happened to me. But other than that, today looks like it's going to be a good day. It's been raining for the last couple of days. So I went to a concert. When the video's over, so is the chat. When I went to a concert Tuesday night at a drive-in theater in Carthage. My wife and son like the band Skillet, so I happened to be home. I was dealing with this stuff, so I was like, I'll just pick a logo on Wednesday morning. And so it was interesting because I've heard like one song from Skillet. It was all right. The other two artists were, you know, as a musician, I appreciated it. But to watch it at a drive-in theater, it was genius too, because people can social distance. You're outside, you know, so you didn't have to worry about all the you can either listen to it in the car with, you know, because they have an FM transmitter. That's how drive-in theaters are now. They have FM transmitters. And but a lot of people had just chairs, and you watched. The only thing, the sound was kind of weird. It seemed like the sound was inconsistent. I don't know if it's because they didn't have a powerful PA system. For when you do an outdoor concert, you have to have a powerful PA system. But, and you know, of course, the first two bands, it was during the daylight, so you couldn't see but what was on stage, and that was kind of lame. But once the main band started, you know, it was dark, and you know, then they had a professional camera crew that basically, it was like a video production. It was like watching a live video. It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. Are trucks with shifters stronger and more powerful than the automatic trucks, Ivan? I don't think so. I look. It's about torque and pull. I think that's why you don't see too many automatics in like the heavy haul divisions. But I don't know the science of that. So, but Nomadic Brick, good morning. I first ran across carnivore diet last. I need to put my glasses on here. I first ran across carnivore diet last year. Thought it was crazy, but tried it for 30 days. I was sold. It works. I'm a chef professionally and around food all day. I'm looking forward to it, and that's Graybick says his son's huge Skillet fan. Cool. Iron Skillet. That would be a good band name, wouldn't it? Iron Skillet. They're playing soon at Wild Adventures Theme Park in my hometown of Valdosta, Georgia this summer. They put on a good show, Southern Rider, so if you like their music, they definitely put on a good show. They had a really good guitar sound. As a guitar player, I'm picky about that, especially in heavier music. And they had a really, I mean, they could easily be a thrash band if they changed their songwriting a little bit with the guitar sound that they had. I got this at just the truck stop. Pilot sells these. TA sells these. $20. Let's see, not that this matters, but my wife had her citizenship ceremony at the local drive-in. Swore in from inside the car. Kind of weird, but smart to use the drive-in instead of arena due to COVID, right? We're playing. Okay, I already read that. Slime Chandham's trying to rock truck out of a hole. I think the only way I would want an automatic is if it had a creep feature like the newer ones do, because I tried back in an automatic and I slammed James Best's truck into his trailer. Like, I'm surprised it didn't tear the fifth wheel off. It's hard to feather. Yeah, the carnivore thing, that's what sold me, was that you had medical people telling me that you know, as long as you watch these things, you're good to go. But also, the comment sections of these carnivore videos are just absolutely amazing. A lot of these are older people. Like, you read, I'm a 60-year-old and I've changed this and this and this. I'm 48 years old and I've lost 100 pounds within a year. You know, and basically it's kind of like, to me, it's keto on steroids. Like you're getting no carbs. If you're doing it right, you're getting no carbs at all, and that's so basically you're almost in a fasting state, except for, you know, every time you eat, gotta you know spikes your insulin. But the only complaint that I have right now is that I have, because I'm on this prednisone crap for this, you know, this stuff. I have to eat something in the morning when I take my medicine. So yeah, John, the Volvos are really good about that. Sometimes in the news, when a big truck's involved, they say it was an 18-wheeler, when in reality a truck had 14 wheels. So funny. Yeah. Yeah, it's all or nothing. That's the thing. Oh, that was the same theme park in Zombieland? That's cool. Combine carnivore with intermittent fasting, you'll feel lethal. Hound Dog, I already know the effects of intermittent fasting. I've definitely, someone, my friend Scott is Logistics. He was looking for contractors, by the way. He told me, he called me yesterday and he was like, you seem like you have more pep in your step than the last, couple of weeks. And I said, well, I got my truck fixed. Things are kind of going back to normal. I accomplished quite a bit at the house, and this whole carnivore thing has kind of rejuvenated me and my willingness to do YouTube, because I was getting kind of redundant on the trucking stuff. We can only talk about business stuff for so long. We can only tell you guys the same messages over and over and over before it just becomes a blur. And I can't tell you how many live feeds that I've done where I've actually said the same thing over and over and over, and people still ask you the same questions, which is fine, but it's hard to keep track of all that. So after a while, you feel redundant. You feel like, are we talking about this again? Which I have no problem answering questions, but and I don't expect you guys to go through hours and hours of past live feeds, and that's where small 5, 10 minute, 15-minute recorded videos come pretty handy, where people can reference them. So the carnivore stuff I put on a playlist, and so people can go back and I'm going to put the sequential numbers on the thumbnail and on the title, and so you can easily reference it. So if somebody a year from now goes, well, let's see what day 35 was like, and what made me feel pretty good this morning was that Ken Berry did a video, tips for beginning carnivores, and one of the things he mentioned was to do a challenge, like be a part of a challenge. I thought that was cool, because that's exactly what I'm doing, but it's 40. Yeah, that's what I did, Hound Dog. I did 2 boiled eggs just now. I bought raw eggs and I bought boiled eggs, and the boiled eggs are a little bit left to be desired, but when you get the pre-boiled, when you get the store-bought boiled ones, right? But when you do it at home, it's a lot better. So, are you excited for No More Masks? Yes and no, because when it comes to masks, my viewpoint has been pretty like, you want me to wear it, fine. If you don't want me to wear it, fine. If just don't judge me for whatever decision I make. And it'll be nice to not have to have a mask in my, I wear cargo shorts or cargo pants, and it'll be nice not to have a mask, in that pocket ready as like a holster, just in case I go into a shipper that requires it. Now, my viewpoint's a little bit different because I don't have to work at an office or in a facility or in a restaurant where I have to wear a mask all the time. That would get annoying because it's tough to breathe. It's not getting fresh air is kind of bad. So, but that's a whole thing. You want to wear a mask, fine. If you don't want to wear a mask, fine. Don't cough in my face. Stay out of my little space. I like the 6-foot distance thing. I like that aspect. I can't tell you how many times that I was in a line trying to buy something, and people are crowding. I'm like, dude, get away. Who knows what scurvy you have? But guess what? When your arms look like mine, ain't nobody getting close to me. So. Hotel coffee. Why are you in a hotel, John? Is your truck broke down, or are you getting a break? Let me fresh this up and turn this coffee pot off. But I have my watch on. Well, here about I don't know, 30 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, we'll get on out of here. I gotta do my pre-trip and get the day started. Waiting on EGR part. Oh, okay. Should be done today. Good deal. I don't want to wear the mask, and I don't. When I enter a business, if they say wear it, I just leave and head for another store. I'm going to respect the business wishes on their property. Look, you know, I have a friend of mine that owns a record store, and it's a very small space. And I know that he is not pro-mask, right? But if it, you know, but he brought up a point last year that if a mask mandate allows him to open his store, because he wasn't essential, so he wasn't even allowed to have a store open, which, you know, that is a whole that's a whole different subject for a different day, you know, when it comes to rights and stuff like that. Because he wasn't even allowed to do curbside. Meanwhile, I can go to Walmart and buy a record if I wanted to, you know, because they have a whole vinyl section. But anyways, he brought up the point, look, if there's a mask mandate, then we should be allowed to be open, right? If masks work. So when I go into the store, if there's nobody else in the store and I know he's working, I won't wear a mask. But if other customers come in and they're wearing masks, I'll respect them and I'll put my mask on. That's why I keep it in a pocket. Because if it keeps my friend's store open, then so be it. Now, the mask mandate's being lifted here in Springfield, I think in Greene County. And as time's gone on, a lot of these convenience stores, you know, you walk in and they're the people working the counter aren't even masked up, and so it's become very lax. And there was a point, Fox News made a point that Texas was criticized for being the first state to, like, say you don't need a mask anymore, and their number of deaths right now are at 0. I mean, and there's a guy named Dr. Reality on YouTube that's talked about once a place hits herd immunity, then the numbers drop. And Texas got criticized by the political powers that be, talking about how barbaric it was for them to go back to, you know, normalcy, and that they were going to pay the price, and their numbers are extremely low right now. So it just proves that the herd immunity theory works, you know. So yeah, Neanderthals. Yep, John. That's the thing. The stores have to follow guidelines provided to them, right? And, you know, and you're living in a day and age where, you know, like Gray Big, you're in New York, so your situation's different because New York is still on high alert. I have a sister that lives up there. Hey, and by the way, when I go up there this summer, I'll go hang out with you if you're nearby. But anyways, whereas other states, like some of the southern states, like Mississippi, Missouri, you know, they're a lot more relaxed about it. You know, and it seems like the bigger cities, it's more of a problem than, you know, the small towns. I've been in some small towns that it's like there's a sign that says mask mandate, but no one's following it. So let's see, Steve, are you following the great race on the great freight sage logic? Following myself and 5 American owner-ops? No, I unfortunately I'm behind on his videos. Eric told me about it. He invited me to be on it, but I told him I wasn't a good candidate because I don't run like the other guys, so my numbers don't mean squat. My profit margins are pretty good, only because of, you know, I'll make $1,000 in, you know, 80 miles sometimes. So my numbers are very skewed, very different. So I told him, I said, look, I thanks for the invite, but, you know, now 2 years ago that would have been a different story because I was running pretty normal. So, but yeah, I'll be interested in keeping up with that. You ordered a pot of coffee, it was $28. Wow. England 1, USA 0. Good deal. Good deal. I think Eric should reward you guys with a gift card or something, whoever wins. For beginner driver, do you recommend any big carriers to get that first OTR experience with? Either, I don't know, that I get a lot of flack for saying this, but depends on where you live, Hound Dog. Where do you live? That'll be the answer I give you, depending on where you live. Yeah, Greybig, I agree. Yes, John Kirkpatrick, I have. I got tires just in time. I had to buy all new drives. Rubber is definitely on short demand or short supply, and it's definitely going up. So, you know, a 3,500 set of tires might cost you about 4,100 here in a few weeks. So, oh, you do have a gift for the winner. Good deal. Virginia, I would. Snyder is a good option for OTR. However, I would try to find a company that will hire new guys. That it doesn't have to be a mega carrier. Like I started with a small company called Transland out of Stratford, Missouri. They're literally 150 trucks, 300 trailers, and they were excellent. I mean, you don't have to go to make a carrier for your first shot, but if you have to, the only two I would recommend would be Schneider and Prime. I don't recommend the others. That's just my personal experience from everybody. A lot of people, I know a lot of people, and of course, you know, living in Springfield, I deal with people in Prime all the time. Just don't get into a leasing option within your first 2 years. Don't make that mistake. To me, it's a mistake. That's like, you know, starting your first job at McDonald's flipping burgers, and then hey, you want to control the whole store? Here you go. You know, it's kind of the same thing. You need a couple of years under your belt to really experience this industry as a whole. And just know that your first 2 years, your first year at least, is going to suck. It's going to be like boot camp. So how your company treats you and how they handle problems is the most important thing. And in home time, I don't know what your home time situation will be, but that's important as well. So pulling a tanker, good deal. You know, not going to lease. We'll get a few years experience and maybe trying to rock on my own dollar. There you go, Hound Dog. That's a good idea. There's a company named after a famous car that out of Kansas that will literally hand you the keys to your own new truck right out of orientation after you just got out of CDL school. And it's a horrible company. I won't even say their name because I don't want to get sued or anything, but I watched them destroy a couple of careers simply based on their practices. You know, and some of these companies, you gotta wonder, are they making more money off the charging the driver for everything, or are they actually making any money hauling freight? You know, it's okay when you get into the industry to get your feet wet. Just don't get underwater. There you go. And getting into a lease before you have and know the ins and outs of trucking can be a disaster. Absolutely. The baptism by fire, you know, that works in some cases, but in trucking, man, that can yeah, I've seen really good drivers with a really good mindset get completely trashed by the wrong company, and then they leave the industry. And it's sad because, you know, driver retention is a huge problem, and these companies will chew you up and spit you out. Orion, Captain Apnea, I'm moving from the Midwest to Arizona. Landstar, good company to lease my truck on with. Kevin H. I don't know what the freight situation is out of Arizona for Landstar, but there are a lot of good companies out of Arizona. If you want to choose your own freight, Landstar is definitely a good option. I think Arizona would definitely be a better option. Landstar would be a better option for Arizona than Schneider, because I know that the guys that run the Western 11 there at Schneider, they struggle a little bit from reports that I've heard, as far as choose your own freight companies. So, but I definitely think that choose your own freight company is the way to go. But I would also look for a smaller carrier like Trucking, or a couple others that are 10 to 12 trucks that let you choose your own freight to see if that works, where you can get a bigger percentage. So that's and then knowing the ins and outs of Landstar and how the broker agents work and all that stuff. Eric brought up a good point where someone in the chat talked about how Landstar's drop and hook have gone up quite a bit because people are buying trailers and doing a lot more power only. So if you don't have a trailer, then Landstar is definitely a decent option. That's where I got my start as an owner operator. So. I heard Maverick is an okay starting company for flatbed. John, yes, I agree with that from what I've heard. Oh no, Nomadic Brit, go ahead and plug yourself. Anybody wants to plug their channel, man, go right ahead. I don't have any issues with that. Tanker and flatbed interests me in the long run. Hound Dog, if you get a couple of years experience, there's a great company out of Eldon, Missouri called Opie's. They're a tank, food grade tank. Food grade tank is awesome because 9 times out of 10 you don't need hazmat. Believe it or not, there's a lot of hazmat loads that are food. Been there, done it. But everybody I know that went from dry van to tank have talked about the difference about how drivers are treated, how the freight is delivered. Just, your time is more valuable, your truck is more valuable. So, and if you find a platform to be an owner operator as a tanker driver, that makes you money and gives you freedom, then yeah, that'd be great. But Opie's has like a lease option as well. Hound Dog, I used to think about rail. I used to know a guy that was a trainer at rail, and he said they had a really good training program at the time. I don't know what the recent status of their company is right now, as far as, are they good or bad. So I've heard good things in the past about rail, and they're out of Wisconsin, I believe. So Millis, Gray Big Millis, Trucker Who, or Dump Truck Who, or Dump Truck Bob, whichever name he's going by, he did really well at Millis for a year. But I do believe that Millis just got bought out by somebody else, so that might be changing things. I appreciate that, Nomadic. Just a few genuine people like Steve. I try to be genuine. It's tough to be. It's tough for me to be dishonest, really. Yeah, he did great there at Millis, but Millis just was bought out. So whenever a bigger company buys a smaller company, it changes the dynamics of everything. That's kind of a curse of this industry, is that you work for a small company and you're loving it, and then all of a sudden they're struggling financially, and then somebody bigger comes along and buys them up, and next thing you know, you went from working from a 100 truck company to now you're working for a big company like Werner or Swift or somebody like that. Celadon was infamous for buying up smaller companies. Same thing with Prime. They come in and they acquire the contracts, and then they get rid of the drivers, one form or another, and then, you know, as soon as you hear your company's for sale, bail. Because the dynamics and the things that make you love the company change, and next thing you know, this isn't right, you know, they've got more cost saving measures put in place like health insurance and all that, and next thing you know, the company that you originally fell in love with changed, and you know, so you're like, I'm out. That's why I became an owner operator, because while it didn't happen at Transland, they actually had some changes for the better. You know, you never know. After the old man that owns it dies, you know, you never know what's going to happen to the company. And usually it's the death of the original person that starts the company that creates a lot of changes. Look what happened to Arrow, you know. Going back to work today, Gray Big. Well, don't forget you got a trailer behind you now, so that's always my challenge when I first start. You've been out on the truck for 14 hours. It sucks. You know, being in a hotel is kind of nice, but at the same time, you want to get out there and run. And John, you know, what you're doing, man, if you could choose your own stuff, doing what you're doing, John, I would completely be on board with that. I would love to do that. Because, you know, I talked to one of the other guys of the company you're working for, and it really intrigued me. You know, you never know what's behind you. You know, you pick up a different trailer every day or every trip, and you're running empty all the time, and most of the time, I know you guys got some loaded power onlys, but I would love to be the guy that delivers new trailers everywhere. You know, if I could choose where I go and when and how and all that stuff. So, but Eric did bring up a point today about, because of the surplus of power only freight, it's easy to get into the game with just a truck now. You know, I know that Big Rig CO, when he went over to SRO Logistics, he had to do his first couple of weeks as power only, you know, before he can get his trailer. You know, so, you know, and then the other element is, if my trailer gets trashed or totaled, or, you know, something gets put through the roof, then I'm going to need that option as well. So, Heartland bought out Millis. Okay, yeah. I know a few people have had negative experiences at Heartland, but you look, online research of companies is so hard to sift through, because a large percent, and Hound Dog, I hope you're still in here, a large percentage of how well you do in this industry is how you react to things. And so a large percentage of truck drivers aren't successful and get out of the industry pretty early because of their mindset, because of their expectations, because of the whole you know, entitlement thing. So, you know, bookmark this part of this video. It's all on your mindset. Trucking is either a curse or a blessing. The choice is yours. Now, granted, there are some bad companies out there that will take advantage of you, but how you react to that will determine things. So if you get a bad company, then, you know, you switch companies. But if you know, and that might solve the problem. But if you keep switching company after company after company after company, you know, and you know, you hear of guys that switch companies like several times in a course of 2 or 3 years, then there's probably something about trucking you're not liking. And so that's where, you know, becoming an owner operator and going with a situation where you can control your platform is important. So because you can kind of avoid most of the pitfalls by still taking advantage of the things that you do like. 15 years a chef, tired of the industry at 48. Trucking makes sense for a new career. It won't be easy, I know, but excited for the new challenges and adventure. And Hound Dog, it goes on your perception and how you react. If you're very overreactive and have a lot of road rage and you think that the company owes you something, then you might have some issues. But if you're the kind of guy that is a team player, you know, and realize that you're going to have some hardships, and if that company handles that hardships pretty decently, then you're good to go. So, Smooth Trucking, what's up? Bob G, how's it going? So, Bitcoin over 42K, thank God I bought the dip. Robinhood finally, after 2 weeks of me bitching at them, finally approved. And what happens to all the digital currency? It tanks. So, I haven't invested in anything yet. I've got my one free stock, and that's it. And I think it's just holding steady. That is true, John. I mentioned Prime earlier to him, but I forgot they have flatbed and tanker as well. So, you're an easy dog to hunt with, Hound Dog. Look, if you eventually want to get into the flatbed or tanker world, Prime definitely has those options. You know, just be careful of their leasing program. I know that it just depends on your home time. I mean, their leasing program does great for people that don't like going home. So, but if you're kind of nomadic and you don't have to be home every weekend or every other weekend, then, you know, probably might be a good option. Just, you got to get a good trainer over there. There's some good trainers over there, and there's some bad trainers over there. So just that's like any company. So if you become a job hopper, your options for good companies become non-existent. RN says he wouldn't recommend Prime's training. Yeah, he had a negative experience. So, you know, but I do know a couple of people that are really good trainers over there. So, it's luck of the draw when it comes to that. And you can always say, you know, look, I don't like this trainer, you know, and if they give you an attitude, then it's time to bail. But you know, I would agree. Every couple of weeks or so, and I'll be good. Look, the first thing about this is just get through CDL school, and you know, and most CDL schools, they have recruiters that come by and talk to the class and all that stuff. You know, just I could privately tell you a list of companies to avoid, you know, matter of fact, definitely, but I won't air them here because, you know, again, you're gonna have 100 people telling you 100 different things. So I can just go by the experience, you know, but I as a company driver only work for one company, so I don't feel that I have the expertise to tell you or to tell anybody, you know, what companies they should or shouldn't go. I'm not going to be the guy that gets on YouTube and compares companies that I've never been to. There was somebody doing that, and it annoyed the crap out of me, because a lot of the things that person was saying were not true with the companies that he was talking about. So Right, gray big, and you know, I was the guy in CDL school that ticked off the recruiters. I know that sounds well, that's kind of stupid, Steve, but because I came from a trucking background with my dad, and I'd done like basically a year's worth of research online, Truckers Report, watching YouTube videos, and just really getting to know the things that I didn't know from before with my dad. And so I came in probably the most prepared against these recruiters and their BS lines. And I went to Transland because they didn't give us any BS lines. Everything that recruiter said was 110% true. And there was no lies. Where this one guy came in from a mega carrier that pretends to be Christian based, and he came in like a sleazy used car salesman, complete with the Cadillac with the gold trim, you know, and he just, I ticked him off with the questions that I asked him, because what he was saying doesn't make sense. If you hear the terms more money, more home time, then more than likely they're lying to you, because it's only in a certain perfect situation that you get that perfect balance. You know, and what it, you know, so, you know, they could sit there and say, well, you get 50 cents a mile and you'll be home every weekend, but you're only going to get 1,000 miles a week. You know, that doesn't do you any good. Whereas, you know, you might have a company that says you get 24 cents a mile and you run 3,800 miles a week as far as your ELD will allow you. Well, that doesn't do any good either. So finding that perfect balance. So when a company on the back of their trailer says more money, more home time, that is like, you know, you can be sick and healthy at the same time, or you can be, you know, I can't even think of an analogy because it's just so idiotic, but that's the kind of lines that they use on you. And so what I recommend doing is go to truckersreport.com and look for what to ask recruiters list. Print it out and take that to school with you whenever one of these guys have come in. If you can get the government to pay for your CDL, or you can pay for it yourself, I suggest Clement Truck Driving School in Lebanon, Missouri. There you go. Never hurts to ask a driver from another company how their company is to work for. That's true. I've weighed the option of going company paid CDL or my own, pay my own way for school, decide to pay for my own. That was your first first good move right there. You know, most of these company-based schools, you know, they want you to work for them for, you know, 18 months to pay it off, and if you leave early, they will ding your credit and say that you owe them like $10,000. And right, and you know, and that's something else you can do. You know, get online, truckersreport.com, and ask people about certain companies. Look up, you know, what people say, and just, you have to be able to filter through how, you know, if it's a person's reaction to a company or the company really is crap. And trust me, there are a lot of companies that want to take advantage of new guys. You know, they want you to not know anything going into the game, so they can mold you into what they need, but also take advantage of you in certain ways. So it's just like any other company industry out there. So Great Points, Nevada, and Greybig. So, well, my coffee is gone, guys, and I appreciate you guys coming in. I appreciate the encouragement and support for the carnivore thing. I will let you know the ins and outs. I will be honest. If I'm suffering a little bit, I'll tell you. If I'm feeling sick, I'll tell you. If I'm feeling great, I'm going to tell you. I'm not here to sell you anything. This is just honest. I want people to get their health back, because you know there are many elements of our society that are going to crap, and it might be, health might be the only thing left that you got. And and as far, you new CDL people, you could be the best driver, best worker, best owner operator, best businessman, but if you can't drive your truck because of your health, then that's a problem. So you guys, thanks for watching. Hit the thumbs up on the way out, and I appreciate it. I appreciate all you guys, and I gotta get to work. Peace.